is a battleground state and a place both the Trump and Biden campaigns are focused on winning, although they have very different strategies. Professor Mike Wagner from the UW-Madison joins us this morning to talk a little bit about that. Good morning, Professor. I want to start this morning with the president. Wisconsin is included in nearly every pollster's map showing Trump's path to victory, and he seemingly knows that. He was here yesterday. He's going to return again to the La Crosse area on Tuesday. Who is he exactly speaking to with these large in-person rallies? Who's left to win over?
I don't think he's really trying to win people over as much as he's trying to get his prior supporters to turn out, show up and vote for him once again. And I think we've seen a little bit of a shift in his strategy in Wisconsin over the past few months, from focusing more on rural voters to now focusing more on suburban voters, where he's been bleeding in Wisconsin over the last month or two.
And where are those suburban voters located? Are they in the Madison area? Are they more in the Milwaukee area? Are they up north where he'll be heading later this week?
So I would say in general, in counties surrounding our larger cities, so the WOW counties surrounding Milwaukee, some counties surrounding Dane County, places that surround other kind of college towns like La Crosse and Green Bay and Superior and Eau Claire, like around those places are really important for the president right now, as the cities themselves seem to be strongly for Joe Biden.
And let's speak about Joe Biden, because he has a very different strategy from Trump. He's staying virtual. He's not holding large in-person visits to the state. It's actually been more than a month now since he's been on the ground here in Wisconsin in person. Do you think that strategy is working in appealing to those suburban voters, those rural voters, those last-minute voters?
Well, the issue that voters in Wisconsin say is the most important to them is the coronavirus, dealing with the pandemic. And so the Biden and Trump campaigns have very different strategies about dealing with that. The Biden campaign is saying that the virus is much more dangerous and is getting worse. Wisconsin's cases keep going up. President Trump in Wisconsin, in Waukesha, said yesterday, the virus is rounding the corner, which doesn't seem to be much evidence of that. And so I think if you're President Trump, you need to show that you think the virus is rounding the corner and show up in person. If you're Vice President Biden, you show that you're taking this seriously and that it is the problem that you say it is, and do the events virtually.
And I usually ask you about things in a more historical context, but we're living through an entirely new time. I mean, record numbers of people have already cast their ballots, including more than 1 million people here in our state. So for folks that might be watching this, who are avid news viewers, they might have already cast their ballot. Is there anything that they can do to help influence the election over the next week?
So I think there are a few things that people who've already voted can do, as well as folks who know they're going to vote, and that's to help their favored candidate in phone banking, making phone calls to people who have yet to decide or yet to vote. It's sending out postcards reminding people to vote, posting on social media their preference and why it's their preference, and sharing their views. These are all things that people can do to try to have a more personal touch with the folks in their network, or strangers in terms of phone banking when it comes to trying to get people to support the candidate that they favor.
And last question. Of course, no one knows the answer to this, so I'm going to put you on record here, though. When do you think we might get election results on Election Day here in Wisconsin? Are we going to be getting them that night? Are we going to have to wait?
Well, we'll start getting results, but I think the final result may take a day or two. It's just something we ought to prepare for, that especially in Wisconsin, where you don't really start counting all of these ballots that have already come in until Election Day, that it might take a little bit of time. And it might take time in a way that's frustrating for folks, but it's part of the process that's already set up. There's nothing new or strange about it. It's just that more people are voting early, and so it's going to take us a little bit longer to get those results.
We've waited 4 years for this election. It only happens every 4 years, so we can wait a couple more days and we'll get those results. Thank you, Professor Wagner.